And that's why when we're talking about top 5 quarterbacks and top 10 quarterbacks and all time, he's a guy that I start to really get nitpicky on versus the other real all-time greats, because there's a consistency issue. There's some mechanics issues that lend to the issues that I'm talking about. He doesn't drive the ball well, and when he does drive the ball well, like when he did that, he ends up getting batted down, and he lost that ball a lot. That's why if he was really a full what you'd want out of a quarterback, that ball doesn't get intercepted last night. Because if that's Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, like they put some mustard on that ball, and it's like pinned right on the back earlobe where that defender, even if he jumps up, the worst he's going to do is he's going to deflect off his hand, go out of bounds. Like that got picked off because that's how Russell throws the ball at 5'10". He lost everything in the air. It drives me nuts sometimes because it's like, if I'm a DB, how the hell am I supposed to track a ball that's going 15 yards down the field, but it travels 35 yards up in the air like a damn punt? He's entertaining, but I also watched him at Wisconsin, and he drove me nuts back in Wisconsin. He's, the reason they lost to Kirk Cousins was that exact type of play, where he's trying to, doesn't drive the ball to a guy in tight coverage, and he lofted it, and it got intercepted, and it cost the chance for them to go to a national championship. So I've watched Russell Wilson enough, even going back to college, and he has not progressed past that type of player. Russell, that's the one thing I will say about Russell is I have never seen him grow as a player. He is the exact same dude I watched in college. He's been the same way. He was very smart in college. Don't give me that weird look, because people, this is the thing. People, this is why you're giving me that weird look, because you're acting as if like I'm calling him stupid. What I'm trying to tell you is that
I never said you called him stupid, but he's grown.
He was overly mature and overly football smart for his age coming out of college. Had he been an inch and a quarter taller, he would have been a first-round pick and probably one of the top quarterbacks taken. Because he would have blew everybody, all those other quarterbacks taken ahead of him. He was way more mature. He was way more football savvy, way more football smart. He had the ability to read defenses way faster than all those other guys. I will tell you that right now. That's why he came in and was able to, like, they literally traded away a guy they just gave a $26 million contract to and didn't even have him for 3 months in Matt Flynn, because he was that good. And so it's not a slight on me to say, when I watch his film and watch his tape, Dave, everybody grows because you age. I'm telling you, go watch him at Wisconsin and turn on last night's game. Tell me that game, his game is so much different that he's the same.
Yes, I disagree with you, but I mean, I know your stance on him. You've been that way, but I'm just saying I disagree. Also, breaking news, folks, just came out, a big hit to San Fran's depth on their defensive line. Mr. Ronald Blair, their really, really strong rotational defensive end, who was able to get out and also cover the flats. I mean, he's a big part. He gets a big chunk of snaps there, and he tore his ACL. He is done for the season. Ooh. So San Fran takes yet another hit. Didn't mean to interrupt with that, guys. It just popped up on NFL trade rumors, so I'm just trying to keep it as it goes.
Man, San Fran right now is feeling, they're like, oh my.
Emmanuel Sanders has his rib MRI today. They're waiting on results to come back tomorrow, and MRI, it's a scan for soft tissue. They already did the x-ray. There was no conclusive evidence of any breaks, fractures. So if there's soft tissue damage around his ribs, that's not good, because that means it's going to be very, very affected by anything after that. You got to let it heal. So
yeah, that sucks, man. I hate it when players get injured like that. So that sucks for him, unfortunately. Have we been doing studs and duds, or are we like still behind?
No, we still have yet to do that, but that's fine. You want to take a break?
Nope. Go ahead and do that, man.
All right, let's get into it.
Spot.
let's get into our top performances before we throw up at our stinkers later. We had Dak Prescott with a very nice game despite the loss against the Vikings. You had Kyler Murray showing up. That's been pretty nice for fantasy owners who either drafted Murray in the mid rounds or picked him up on especially if you picked him up on waivers. You're very happy about Murray right now. And those 3 touchdowns for Christian Kirk. You had Pat Mahomes with his big game, but that's something we've come to expect. Lamar Jackson, you guys saw that ridiculous run with the spin move, I take it.
It's like a Madden move. It was at the same speed too.
Of course, he did. Who hasn't seen that? I think the blind people in the world have seen that play.
Yeah, I guess according to the analyst, he made 6 defenders miss on that play. And then you had some surprise performances from guys like Tannehill and Daniel Jones, tossed 4 touchdowns. Baby. That's right. And then we talked about Kyle Allen, who had a pretty decent game in the snow of Green Bay. So those were the top performances. Those were the guys who balled out. As far as quarterbacks who called out, Drew Brees, guys. We talked about that awful game. 0 touchdowns against the Atlanta Falcons at home, coming off a bye. I mean, this is a game where people with Drew Brees were licking their freaking chops, probably betting their opponents that they were going to win by, dozens of points. And now they're just sitting there sobbing, tissues in hand. You had Phillip Rivers, obviously, in the same scenario. He wasn't coming off a bye, but you had a plus matchup against Oakland. Terrible. I mean, I'm usually weary about Thursday night division games anyway, but that was a game where you didn't have any doubt. A veteran like Rivers, who's seen the Raiders time and time again over his career against a very vulnerable pass defense. And Dave, I know you agree. Funny. And then you had Jared Goff, terrible performance against Pittsburgh. You had Josh Allen, who didn't necessarily have a dud game, but 266 yards was his highest of the season, so I thought I would point that out. And so, yeah, those are the guys. I guess if you want to mention Ryan Finley and Brian Hoyer, we can. But it's not like those are guys that people are depending on. I mean, I had to stream Brian Hoyer in a couple of my leagues this week, so I was disappointed. I don't want to talk about it. Let's get into the running backs.
Are you sensitive or what?
I mean, you had Hoyer, who tossed a couple TDs against Pittsburgh the week before, comes out and just craps the bed against one of the most vulnerable defenses in the league. Wasn't happy. Running
it
backs.
Is home turf.
I got 8 points from Aaron Rodgers. Stop bitching. You're just mad because you lost.
That's because the game plan was actually
celebrating.
The game plan was actually next to Jones. That's why. Brian Hoyer was actually supposed to be the focal point of that offense. Rodgers wasn't.
Dillon, as you eloquently put it last week, each week, as long as other teams in the league win, essentially you never lose, okay? Because it's a unique situation in the First and Goal Fantasy League, because about, 100% of it is probably taking your fantasy advice. So, Dillon's the commissioner of the league. He's running everything, but everybody's taking his advice.
Just handing you guys wins every week.
Another update from San Fran's injury report just came out.
Oh, Jesus.
Joe Staley, that just came back, broke 2 of his fingers and might not play.
He got whipped.
Yeah, Clowney did a number.
Jadeveon Clowney made him look like the Rocky statue in Philadelphia. He's just like he was just standing still with his hands in the air,
It was amazing.
Bad.
I mean, whether it was inside moves, outside moves, I saw him get
bad.
right on his ass one play.
Joe Staley last year was a Pro Bowl left
tackle. Exactly. It's like I'm just saying, it's pretty impressive. I'm not picking on Joe Staley. I'm saying that's damn impressive because he's not a slouch. He might be old and injured, but he's not a slouch.
Dillon, can I bring up something?
No. Yes.
Wow.
That was quick.
So the running back section for studs, there's something I want to bring up. Aaron Jones has 14 total touchdowns, tied with McCaffrey. He has from last time I looked after the game, I believe it was like 120 less touches from catches and rushes, but he still has the same amount of TDs, and he's not the focal point of the offense. Would you not consider Aaron Jones a dark horse MVP candidate?
No, but he is very valuable to that team. I'm sorry. I mean, you're just never going to win MVP on the same team as Aaron Rodgers. Not going to happen.
I was just going to say.
Aaron Rodgers is vouching for him. He's the one who brought it up.
No, that's totally fair. But in the eyes of public perception, especially splitting time with Jamal Williams, I mean, the guy's been super efficient. I just
That's
can't get him.
That's what makes it more impressive.
No, I know. But here's the problem with him. They're going to look at his every other explosive game, and then he always follows up an explosive game with a stinker. Like, I bet you next week that he has less than 20 fantasy points, and maybe he only has one touchdown, if any. Most of his points will come off of receptions and just total yardage. And Aaron Rodgers will have a blowout game, because that's how this seems to go. If you look at the pattern this season. It's also why I traded him to get Devontae Adams, because Devontae Adams is going to be more consistent. You look like such a freaking freak right now. It's distracting to even talk when you're like that. You look like you went from looking like a full-fledged adult to a 13-year-old. You look like a 13-year-old that kids send in to buy beer and cigarettes. That's what you look like right now. It's ridiculous. Put your hoodie down. Stop.
Dude, I know that it's kind of chilly, in Georgia. Strangely chilly, for this time of year. But I know for a fact you're in your attic. Heat rises. What's with the hoodie?
I am. I'm not feeling good, man. So I'm still toughing it out for the podcast. Getting a little bit of cold chilies. So just, yeah. So just wanted to go ahead. Drank some peppermint tea earlier. Making my chest feel a little bit better. Sounded like a broken horse before this.
Okay, keep going, Dillon, because we are getting way long-winded, because we got to take a break pretty soon.
Running back does. You include Christian McCaffrey, who, had it not been for that stop basically at the half-yard line, would have had an even better fantasy day. Aaron Jones had 3 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook with a nice day. Melvin Gordon getting much more involved in that Chargers offense, had 2 touchdowns. And then you had Derrick Henry, young man Rumble for, I believe it was I think it was over $150 and 2 touchdowns.
19 carries, 182 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And then Joe Mixon, for the 3rd straight week, actually puts up some pretty good stats. I mean, 116 yards.
Getting blown out.
It took 30 carries to get there. So we'll have to see about the future prospects of Joe Mixon. But I respect the guy because he plays very hard on an 0-8 team, which is hard to find.
0-9, how dare you?
Yeah, sorry. Then I underestimated how bad they are. As far as
running backs, have
backs,
talent and they suck. That's what's sad, Dillon. I'm sorry, but it's just the Dolphins don't have talent. They're winning. The Bengals have talent and they suck.
Yeah. Running backs who called out. Guys, I don't know if you saw Saquon Barkley's stat line. Saquon had 13 carries for 1 yard.
It was bad. It
Terrible.
was Mitch Trubisky's first half stat line 2 weeks ago.
And I had to face the guy in our league that had him, and I couldn't have gotten it. The 2 times I had to face him this year, he was injured the first time, and he sucked the second time.
Lucky you. Saquon had a very forgettable performance against a very vulnerable New York Jets defense, so it kind of makes you wonder what the heck's going on.
His week was comparable to Montgomery, just for all those people out there that want to have an idea of how bad it really was.
Well, you brought him up, so I'll just reinforce it. David Montgomery called out this week with a very bad performance, and, a week after they released Mike Davis, showing nothing but confidence in the kid. So that was kind of a bummer. You had Alvin Kamara with a real disappointing game. I realize, he's been banged up, but they're coming off a bye week.
He barely got